Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to our Tuesday night segment of Divine Femininity United. I am your girl, Dr. Bianca, Miss B. Lee, and we are here to read our chapter 7 portion of this amazing book, Power versus Force: The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior. This book, you all, this book. Need I say more? No. If you do not have this book, get the book. Well, I'll tell you how to get it at the end of the segment. But for right now, we're going to jump right on in because, as you all know, on Tuesday nights, I do not play about the time because I respect your time. I respect you. I love you. I honor you. And I respect and love and honor your time because this time belongs to you. These are granted moments that you have chosen to share with me, and I am so pleased that you did, and I am willing to share my moments with you right now, but I will not waste any of your moments. Okay, so I want to hurry up and get you back to your evening. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is chapter 7 of this book, Power versus Force, and it is entitled Everyday Critical Point Analysis. Everyday Critical Point Analysis. Of course, we're still talking about the consciousness levels, okay, levels of consciousness, and starting at 75, which is very, very low, all the way up to between 700 and 1,000, which we were told and we learned inside of this book there were only three in human history that graded at that level of consciousness, which were Lord Jesus Christ, Lord Krishna, and Lord Buddha. Okay, those three were the only ones that reached that highest level of consciousness. But it is not to say that we are not incapable. We absolutely are. What happened with them is they stepped into their higher God body selves and they operated in this life as such. It is not to say that we cannot, we absolutely can. But the problem is, um, there's so many low level powerful forces that has oh my goodness come at us and caused us to forget who we were, who we are, and all of those things, take on personas that we are not, believe lies about ourselves, about where we're from, what we're here to do. All of those things get caught up in the rat race and the rigmarole of this human stuff that is not of us. We are not of it. We are simply here having the experience of being a human. We're not from here, okay? But oftentimes we put on the garments of here, meaning we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by work, by people pleasing, by poverty and debt, lack mentality, overruled by government and the crooked authority figures. We're told that we're less than or middle class, lower class, minorities, all of this stuff, and we're believing these things. We're believing what we're told. We've been programmed to forget who we truly are in order to become subjective to the conditionings of that of which we are not. So this book actually aligns us back with who we are so that we can raise our conscious levels and become fully aware of the things of us, tap into them so that we can operate as such in this realm, which is what we're supposed to do to assist in elevating this place, not this place lowering who we are. Okay. So here we go. Chapter 7, Everyday Critical Point Analysis. The potential applications for research we've described thus far offer some suggestions about the limitless uses for which this method is applicable. As the interaction of attractor fields of energy with human consciousness reveals itself in an interaction of mind and body, the basic level of available energy in any enterprise can be calibrated by anyone, anywhere, at any time. All that's required is two people, one of whom is familiar with the muscle testing technique described in this study. The practical implications are staggering. This tool can be as important to the continuing evolution of society as any of the major discoveries of the physical sciences to date. Let's spell out in more pragmatic detail what this could mean in everyday life. Inasmuch as the calibrated power of an identified attractor pattern is directly related to its level of truth, it's possible to cleanly distinguish true from false, constructive from deconstructive or destructive, the practical and efficient from the unworkable and wasteful. We can identify motive, agenda, and goal in any project or in individuals themselves. Sheep's clothing need hide the wolf no longer. As we've seen, consciousness reacts decisively to the difference between truth and falsehood. You may instantly reconfirm this by stating your true age. Let's say that you're 43 years old. I am 43 years old. And having someone press down on your extended arm, you'll stay strong. Now say, I am 45 years old, and you'll instantly go weak. Like a computer, consciousness simply answers 0 or 1. Now we get into the binary coding, okay? True or false, okay? True being 0, false being 1. Any ambiguities in the process are introduced by the questioning method, not the answering mechanism. See chapters 2, appendix B and below, okay? We can identify the level of truth of any statement, belief system, or body of knowledge. We may accurately measure the truth of any sentence, paragraph, chapter, or entire book, including this one. We can reliably identify our own level of consciousness or motive in any enterprise. We now have available a perspective on social movements and history never before possible. Political research isn't confined to the present. We can look back into history and make calibrations. For instance, to compare Gorbachev with Stalin, Trotsky with Lenin, and so on. Wow. In all of these exercises, kinesiology reveals the hidden implicit order by making it explicit, disclosing its true nature. The use of the system is self-educative and self-directing. Each answer, it will be discovered, leads to the next question, happily in an upward and beneficial direction. We discover that truth about ourselves because our questions are themselves merely the reflections of our own motives. It's true. Goals and levels of awareness. So true. It's always informative to calibrate not the answer, but the question. In discussing the process, we must emphasize again, more specifically, some aspects of the form of questioning. Precision in wording is of paramount importance. The question might be posed, for instance, is this decision a good one? But what do we mean by good? Good for whom? And in what time frame? That's so true. Man. The specifics, the details, it's true. Questions have to be very carefully defined. What we think is good or bad is merely subjective. What the universe thinks about it may be something else entirely. It's true. Man. Motive in questioning is highly significant. Always ask first, I may ask this question, or may I ask this question? Never ask a question unless you're prepared for the answer. That's a fact. The facts may be quite different from what you currently believe. Although there is a potential for emotional upset through the unwise use of this method, experience has shown that continuing the line of inquiry will enlarge the context and heal the disturbance. Yes. Let's say a young woman asks, my boyfriend is honest, or he is good for my life, and the answers are negative. Consequently, she becomes disappointed to find that his love is selfish and his interest exploitative. But further questions provide a resolution. I am saving myself a lot of misery now by knowing this. Yes. I can learn from the experience. Yes. Okay. That's good. Ooh, that's good. On a more mundane level, the same technique can determine whether an investment is an honest one or not, or whether or not an institution can be trusted. We can accurately predict the potential of new developments, not only in marketing, but in medical research or engineering. We can check the safety precautions being used on great oil tankers. We can judge in advance the visibility of military strategy. We can ascertain who is fit to govern and distinguish the statesman from the mere politician. In the case of a media event, we can instantly tell whether the interviewer or the interviewee is telling the truth, and if he is, what level of truth is being expressed. If you try this during a network news hour, you may have a shocking revelation. On many occasions, all the public figures shown are lying. Come on. Now, listen, you don't have to test to figure that out. Every last one of them. All politicians are not lying, but the majority of public figures, listen, they tested them. They're all lying. All the public figures shown are lying. That is crazy. Want to tell it? Want to tell if that used car is a good one to buy? Easy. If a salesman is telling the truth, simple. If your new romantic interest is a good bet, is this a reliable product? Is that employee trustworthy? What's the degree of safety of a new device? What's the integrity, skill, and competence level of a particular doctor or lawyer? Who's the best available therapist, teacher, coach, repairman, mechanic, or dentist? What levels of consciousness are required to properly discharge the duties of specific public offices? And what are the levels of the incumbents? This capacity to instantly differentiate truth from falsehood is of such extraordinary potential value to society that we felt it appropriate in our research to document and verify some explicit practical applications. Man, my goodness, the ease that these testings will bring if we utilize this in our day-to-day activities or dealing in our day-to-day people and exchanges and all of that stuff, man, it will save us a whole lot of headache. Next section, current and historic events. Because the technique immediately distinguishes true evidence from false, it can resolve factual disputes, the identity of perpetrators, for instance, or the whereabouts of missing persons. Wow. The truth underlying major news events can be revealed, whether it's the guilt or innocence of contemporary victims and accusers, or the validity of historic conspiracy theories or unsolved mysteries, such as the Amelia Earhart disappearance, the Lindbergh kidnapping, and so on. Testimony before Senate hearings and media reports of events are verifiable in a matter of seconds. Wow. Oh my goodness. Now listen, to get this information out to the public, my goodness, it's stuff like this that I believe the masses or the quote unquote powers that be would want to silence. Because if we were to be able to utilize this, and we are, okay, that's why we're learning it now, utilize this method to determine actual truth and falsehood of the people of this existence, the authorities, quote unquote, whoever is in authority, or even our surroundings, our circles, the opportunities and investments. If we were to really, really, really be able to, utilize this for our day-to-day lives and in our environments and whatnot, it would put a lot of people out of their positions. It would strip them of so much power. And one thing that this society operates off of, my goodness, is fear of the loss of power, fear of the loss of relevancy. It's fueled by fear. All things is fueled by fear. Okay? Everything is fueled by fear in one way or another. Okay? Next section, health research. The failure to eradicate certain diseases or find their cure is often due to the fact that the reason is its own limitation. False answers often preclude searching for true causes. For instance, it's currently dogma that tobacco causes cancer. Our research, however, reveals that organically grown tobacco tests kinesiologically strong. Wow. Whereas commercial tobacco tests weak. Come on here. Come on here. We could go even further and talk about the commercially tampered with THC, the marijuana leaf. There's a reason why. Listen, ooh, we can go left with this. We can go so left with this. This is why it is not good to fool with that Delta 8, Delta 9, dispensary stuff or whatever the case. If you're going to use it, which it is not a drug, there is no leaf on this planet that is a drug. What's a drug is the pharmaceuticals that you're taking every day. Okay? That's the drug. All right? But again, a whole other conversation. But this stuff that's being sold and packaged and taxed and created and made in dispensaries and all of this stuff, that stuff is lab altered. All right? That is not earth grown. So like he just said, the current dogma that tobacco causes cancer, in his research, however, revealed that organically grown tobacco tests kinesiologically strong, whereas commercial tobacco, mass-produced tobacco, chemically induced tobacco, tests weak. That's what causes the cancer. Okay, all of the chemicals being put inside of the tobacco and sold to you in the masses, right? That's the cancer causing attributes. Man, tobacco wasn't noted as a carcinogen before 1957, but it does so now as a result of chemicals introduced into its manufacture at that time. There are other solutions to smokers' lung cancer. Research reported in Science in 1995 indicates that 1 gram per day of vitamin C prevents cell damage from smoking. Another resolution is to identify and remove the carcinogenic chemicals from the manufacturing process. Remove the cancer forming chemical, and it will not cause cancer. But see, if they remove the chemical, and it stops the cancer, then it stops the hospital visits, then it stops the pharmaceuticals, then it stops the chemo, then it stops the radiation, then it stops the insurance gouging, then it stops the test cost of the test, then it stops the cost of funerals, the cost of it stops all of that, which is what runs this country. Okay. All right. The people perish for the lack of knowledge, people. The people perish for the lack of knowledge. It was ignorance that caused people to perish. The ignorance, not knowing, because we don't take the time to find out for ourselves. We're too eager to have somebody else to do the work and come and bring us and bird feed us, when what they bird feed us are lies and deceit. Okay. Far too trusting. We are far too trusting. Learn for yourself. Next section, criminal justice and police work. To know whether or not a witness is lying is of obvious importance in any case under investigation, but it's equally significant to discover whether the prosecution is withholding evidence, or if a jury has been tampered with, or, for that matter, is even capable of understanding the evidence. One of the most interesting applications of the technique is in crimes where there are no witnesses, and it's the word of one accuser against that of the other. Allegations of sexual crimes against prominent people is an obvious example. Public figures are easy targets for politically motivated character assassination. And in a society where defendants are treated by the media as if proven guilty merely by virtue of having been accused, they need public protection as much as the accusers. Exactly. Next section, statistics and methodology, time saving. Great amounts of money and time are spent gathering data to document what could easily be discerned in minutes. For instance, to prove the validity of the kinesiological method itself to the skeptical, the following procedures had to be followed. Number one, 15 different small groups totaling 360 subjects were tested with both positive and negative stimuli, which is statistical analysis revealed that they tested at, I think it says 0.001. Okay. 0.001. Okay. Number two, 7 large groups totaling 3,293 volunteers were similarly tested. Okay. Number three, 325 subjects were tested individually. And then 616 psychiatric patients were tested in groups and individually. The conclusion from all of the above was that the null hypothesis was rejected. Traditional methodologies are ineffective. Ineffective. Next section, politics and government. Are our leaders telling us the truth? Is a political figure upholding the Constitution of the United States or subverting it for personal gain? Does a particular candidate have the unique capacity to rise to the demands of the office he or she seeks? Or are facts being misrepresented by a government agency or spokesperson? Will a proposed policy actually solve the problem that it's being designed for? Such practical issues can now be addressed with more certainty. Political debates and public addresses can be analyzed for factuality, and proposed legislation can be assessed from a clearer perspective. Programs that are worthwhile can be definitely identified, and ineffective programs can be dropped. Making sure that funds are appropriated properly, because we all know that certain monies are being sent and funding certain programs that are null and void and are of no benefit to no person in this country, but they're getting funded for some reason. This test that he has can counter all of that, because you can see the validity and find out who's telling the truth, what program is proper, what is not. Okay, who's scamming, who's scheming. You can tell all of this by this test that he's explaining. Next section, commerce. It's possible to diagnose an ailing business or industry and solve its problems without risking financial resources on experiments. Complete analysis of a business starts with calibrating the current and past levels of collective motivation and the abilities of all concerned in its operation. Next, one may calibrate what level needs to be reached by the various departments to succeed. Then policies, personnel, products, supplies, advertising, marketing, and hiring procedures can be similarly assessed. So he's saying run the test by every department in the business. Various market strategies can be then investigated without investment in expensive market analysis. Preserving capital while saving enormous amounts of time and energy. Exactly. Keep in mind that in the conventions of commerce, like those of politics, truth has an ambiguous status. There is a universally accepted, implicit understanding that things said to gain advantage aren't held to any standard of personal honesty. A convenient conscience regarding the exaggerated claim, the bluff, the white lie, is as much a part of the garb of the marketplace as the business suit and tie. It is. Oh my goodness. In fact, intriguingly, kinesiological analysis commonly tells us to no longer believe an erstwhile trustworthy person once he's donned a suit and tie. Wow. Wow. Therefore, numerous applications arise in everyday business, for instance, to determine whether a bill or invoice is accurate. A padded account will make any investigator's arm go weak. My goodness. As will inferior quality or workmanship. Fraud and bogus imitations are easily detectable. The technique can quickly differentiate a bad check from a good one, a false diamond from a true gem, and genuine art from a fake. My goodness. Oh my goodness. There's a reason why this test is not being universally used right now. Oh my goodness. Please. There will be so many people exposed. Yikes. Oh my goodness. Next section, science and research. The level of truth of any scientific paper, experiment, or theory is easily determinable. A great potential asset to the scientific community and the public at large. The benefits to be derived from a given direction of investigation can be ascertained in advance, as can the value of alternate avenues of research. Examination of the economics of research projects and the capabilities of investigators and equipment is also of practical value. Critical factor analysis can detect the point in the system at which the least effort is capable of producing the greatest result. Computer simulation, with all its complex and uncertain variables, is the present state of the art technique for predicting developments and exploring alternative proposals. The built in limitations of logic circuits, however, can be transcended by the kinesiologic use of the world's most advanced computer, the human nervous system. That is the world's most advanced computer. It's so true. We don't trust it enough. We don't listen to our very brilliantly crafted systems enough. They are here to they're fashioned to protect, to guide, to alert, all of that. We don't stop and pause and quiet ourselves long enough to listen. All right. They've been telling us, they're communicating all the time. Quantum non-locality guarantees that the answers to each question are present everywhere. But this in itself can be confusing to a conventional computer. It's so true. Because a conventional computer only knows what it's programmed to know. It doesn't think willfully. It has no free will. It has no consciousness. A computer only holds what the programmer uploaded. That's it. That's all. It cannot do anything outside of the parameters of the program. But our systems can. Our human systems can. Okay? It was built in us brilliantly, I might add. The creator, oh my goodness. There's no words to encapsulate how amazing. Even the word amazing, I think, does the abilities such disservice. Seriously. Okay, next section, clinical work. In medicine, the accuracy of diagnosis as well as the efficacy of a prescribed treatment can be tested. The technique is also valuable in psychological issues where the cause of a disorder can be quickly ascertained. One currently controversial subject of investigation that obviously suggests itself is the area of so-called repressed childhood memories of alleged sexual abuse. Facts can be quickly differentiated from false memories elicited in response to suggestion. Sigmund Freud concluded that most reports of childhood incest that he encountered were of historical origin, and he finally stopped believing them altogether. Kinesiologic testing is used to back up clinical judgments as well as scientifically controlled investigation because it can transcend the built-in design limitation of double-blind research, which can of itself create the very error it's supposed to prevent. That's true. It's so true. Oh my goodness, that's so true. Statistics are no substitute for truth. Statistics are no substitute for truth. Statistics are no substitute for truth. I don't care what your facts say. A fact is not truth. Two different things. Come on. Statistics are no substitute for truth. And in the complexity of biobehavioral phenomena, proximal antecedents can too easily become classified as apparent causes. The real cause may well be the pull of the future through a hidden attractor field. Okay, now we're getting into the whole of ABA, applied behavioral analysis. I know all of this. I have a doctorate in all of it. Okay, now we're getting into the things. Okay, listen, you all. Mm, 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 mm. This is good. My goodness, this is good. I'm so excited to implement this testing in my practice. When I tell you, I'm that's why I love reading about this. Even those who are in the field of wellness, okay, health and wellness, man, in any facet, this is good. But this should be and can be conducted by all beings, everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're in the field of wellness or not. This, you can be the mailman or a home engineer, which I call, my house moms, a home engineer. You can be that someone and still successfully utilize this testing system to know the difference between truth and falsehood. What's good and what's not. Again, my goodness. Education is the next section. A profoundly telling exercise may be performed by evaluating the books in one's library. Come on. Simply hold them over your solar plexus. Solar plexus is in your abdominal area. I open, I activate, I heal, and all of those in the chakra systems 100%. So if you need those, contact me and I will help you with that. Okay, I have clients all the way over in the UK that I've worked with opening and removing the blockages and activating their chakras. Okay, which is very, very important. It's very important. Don't allow someone to help to make you dismiss your chakra system. Okay, do not do that. They are necessary. All right. Okay, going back to this, simply hold them over your solar plexus and have somebody test your muscle strength. As you do so, your books will end up in two piles. Reflection on the differences between the two can produce a revelation. Many testers have found it one of the most valuable experiences of their lives. Man, some left the two piles there for a period of time to let the lesson sink in. Yes, sir. It's equally informative to try the same procedure with one's music collection. Hello. The negative group will include violent, sexist music, such as a lot of rap and heavy metal. The positive pile will contain classical music, most classic rock, including the Beatles, much country music. Surprisingly, it calibrates generally at 520. Really? The problems of the heart. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can see that because country music really, really talks about, it tells stories. You know what I mean? Stories of love and loss, and hurt and friendship and family. Yeah, country music really speaks about everyday matters. To be honest, so I can understand it calibrating at 520. Reggae, popular ballads, and the like. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. Frequencies and hertz and vibrations. That's big. That is big. And frequencies matter. Vibrations matter. Yeah. Because what is put out there, what is projected out there from the music that we're listening to, those things are communicating to our subconscious selves, to our consciousness, and also to the environment, to the universe as a whole. There is no language being spoken in the universe, only vibrations and frequencies. So of course it's going to communicate in the same likeness, in the same way, and it's going to give back what is being given, right? So if the music that you're listening to is communicating to you, you're speaking this. Let me tell you something. Let me just pause here. We are magical, powerful beings. I was talking to one of my clients today, and when I explained this to her, she was like, "Oh no, 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 no. We're only human. No, we're not. No, that's that. No, we don't have that much power." The reason that you believe that is because you've believed that. You've allowed that belief to come into your system. That right there is proof that you have forgotten who you truly are. Okay. We are powerful beings. We are not of this realm. We are here. We're in here in this planet. We're not of this planet. We are simply experiencing this thing called the human life. We are spirits having a human experience. As your spiritual self, you are infinite in all areas of your being. Infinite. Infinite, infinite. There is no beginning, no end to you. There is no limits to your capabilities. It's only here in this human life are we limited and tethered to the ability of your human body. Your spirit has no limits, which is why your spirit doesn't need sleep. It doesn't need water. It doesn't need sex. It doesn't need all of the things, food. It doesn't need those things. Your body does. Because your body and its ability is tethered to this realm, 3D realm. Your spirit is not. Where do you think you go when you think your spirit goes when you're sleeping? That's why you have dreams. Your spirit is traveling to other realms, other dimensions. That's why you have dreams, my love. Your spirit is always alert, willing, ready, on the move. Your flesh is what's weak. This body is what's weak. Okay? You are powerful every single day, whether you realize it or not. You're magical. You're performing magic every single day. Every single day. That's why the music that we listen to is important to make sure. I don't care how good the beat is. You do understand that conjure is a real thing. Chanting is a real thing. I understand in certain populations it's called different things. A chant, I can say chant, but it can also in the faith of Christianity, it could be called a confession, right? In the conscious arena, it's called an affirmation. It's all the same, people. You are chanting. And you're speaking things to yourself. What do you think a chorus is on a song? A hook, a bridge. What do you think that is? It is the repetition of certain sequences of words. So imagine if you're listening to something very toxic. Imagine what it's doing. And then that's your song. Ooh, that's my jam. So you put it on repeat, huh? You play it every time you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed at night. You play it on your way to work. What are you doing? You're casting spells on yourself. And before you know it, you're gonna be demonstrating of these things that you're speaking of yourself. You're gonna be living it because you're manifesting this for yourself. It is not just a song, people. It is not just a TV show. It is not just, oh, that's my friend. That's my day one. Oh, that's my homegirl. That's my homeboy. Oh, no. It's not just another person. It is not just a work environment. It is not just, a burger. It's not just, I'm telling you, you are a powerful, powerful being. And as soon as you realize this, you will start to use your powers more deliberately. Bottom line, you will start to use your powers more deliberately with your powerful self. Okay? Next section, ironically enough, which we know nothing is a coincidence. The next section is spirituality. Come on here. Although this chapter has dealt primarily with secular uses of this tool, it should be pointed out that the applications of the technique can be profoundly spiritual. We may, for instance, test for contrasting statements. I am a body and I have a body. Appropriate questions proceeding from this point can resolve one's most basic fears. All limiting self-definitions create fear because they create vulnerability. I'm going to say that again. All limiting self-definitions create fear because they create vulnerability. Our perceptions are essentially distorted by our own self-definition, which in turn is qualified by identifying with our limitations. The limitations of this body. Errors occur. 1 second. I have some very protective canines here. Error occurs when we cling to the belief that I am that. Listen, error occurs when we cling to the belief that I am whatever you're saying that you are. Error occurs when you cling to the belief, when you cling to the belief that I am whatever that is. Truth is unveiled when we see that one has that or does that instead of is that. Hello, listen. Truth is unveiled when we see that one has that, like one has a body, one has a spouse, one has a child, one has a car, one has a job, instead of or somebody does that. I do this versus I am that. There's a difference. There's a difference. There is great freedom in the realization that I have a body and a mind, rather than I am my body or mind. Once the fear of death is transcended, listen here. Once the fear of death is transcended, because nothing dies, we are energy, we are energetic beings, our spirits are energetic beings. So there is no beginning or end to energy. It simply transcends. So to fear death is a wasted energy, because we don't die. This body does. Okay? We simply transcend. On to the next. Once the fear of death is transcended, life becomes a transformed experience, because that particular fear underlines all others. Few people know what it is to live without fear, but beyond fear lies joy. Come on, beyond fear lies joy, as the meaning and purpose of existence become transparent. Once this realization occurs, life becomes effortless and the sources of suffering dissolve. Suffering is only the price we pay for our attachments. Listen, suffering is only the price we pay for our attachments. Your attachments to this body, your attachments to this life, your attachment to the people, your attachment to your titles, your attachment to your money, your attachment to, we are to be connected to the things, not attached to it. Because there's going to come a time, there's seasons for everything. There's a season to sleep, there's a season to wake up. A time to wake, a time to sleep. A time to live, a time to die. A time to cry, a time to laugh. Hello? There's a time and a season for everything. And everything has a time. In this realm, everything has a time when it needs to go. It needs to leave from you. Attachments make that difficult. To be connected to a season or a thing or a person is to enjoy and embody every moment that you have with it. But when it's time for that to release that thing, you need to know how to do so when it's time. Attachment makes it difficult to do that. That's why some people, after one spouse passes, shortly after the other spouse does too, because they were attached to that body, to the presence, the body of the person, not realizing that person, the actual being, is still here. They never left. Only their presence, their body. Only their body. Right? Yes, suffering is only the price we pay for our attachments. Empirical issues, however, are involved even in spiritual quests. In the matter of spiritual teachers, Americans are extremely naive, partly because such pursuit doesn't have a long tradition here as it does in older cultures. That the world abounds with false gurus is well known in India, but such cynicism doesn't come readily to Americans. Imposters repeatedly come out of India with impressive presentations and hoodwink naive Western spiritual aspirants who, in childlike trust, leave home and hearth, sell their belongings, and follow the charismatic spiritual con man down a path to eventual disillusionment. The shrewdness of some of these gurus can be dazzling, and their capacity to mimic the convincing sincerity is amazing. It's so true, man. They often take in even sophisticated spiritual seekers. This is spiritual seduction, a mixture of truth and falsehood blended in a slick package. The teachings sound valid if one can't see that their truth has been distorted by a false context. Such spiritual exploitation is routinely exposed in India, where these media hungry frauds are held in low regard and often confined to their quarters by the government shown should they return home. Such teachers, quote unquote, can inflict terrible suffering and tragedy. In clinical practice, the most catastrophic depressions occur in people who have discovered that they've been spiritually deceived. Come on here. It's called here, over here, it's called church hurt. Church hurt. Part of it is called church hurt, where you come to find out that everything that you were taught was a lie. Wow. Come to find out everything you were taught from a child that you were forced to learn. You were forced to, we didn't have a choice. Didn't nobody ask me if I wanted to go to Bible study today. I was made to. It's wake up, put your church clothes on, get in the car because we're leaving in 10 minutes. No questions asked, right? But to grow up and to then study to show yourself approved, hello, instead of just believing what comes from the pulpit, you're going to do your own due diligence and find out that, wait a minute, something in the milk is not right. Huh? Yeah. That's what happens. It's what happens. Such disillusionment and pain is far more severe than that which results from other losses in life. And recovery hasn't always been possible. It's so true. So true. I have had to work with several people who were evolving out of their faith and religion because they found that some of the things were contradictory. Some of it wasn't. They come to learn that, okay. The charm of all false prophets is persuasiveness. The charm of all false prophets is persuasiveness. But use of the testing method described herein provides a foolproof safeguard against such deception. It's informative to watch TV evangelists with the sound turned off and have somebody test you. False gurus also made people go weak in a dramatic fashion. See? It's as though the universe considers spiritual rape an especially grave error. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. What of a true teacher? What of a true teacher? In the first place, a universal hallmark is that the true teacher never controls anyone's life in any way. I'm going to say that again. In the first place, a universal hallmark is that a true teacher never controls anyone's life in any way. Instead, they merely explain how to advance consciousness. But if we do test, we'll find that Mother Teresa, recognized by the world through the Nobel Prize, calibrates at 700, as does the acknowledged Indian spiritual saint Rama Maharshi, who died in 1950. He went into a state of enlightenment at age 16, never left the mountain where he lived, and led a life of humble simplicity, eschewing money, prestige, and followers, and would have remained anonymous had not a well-known British writer's description of Maharshi's enlightened state brought seekers to him from all over the world. He was minding his business at the age of 16, minding his business in the mountains, enlightened all by himself. Okay. Christ himself. Christ stepped away from his mother and stepfather, okay, at the age of 12. He reached enlightenment from 12 to 30. He was gone by himself, 12 to 30. He reemerged at 30 years old. And for 3 years, from 30 to 33, he operated from his higher state, his God body. It's where the miracles were performed and things like that. Oh, yeah. I've come to learn that enlightenment happens in isolation, for sure. You cannot heal in the same place that made you sick. You got to leave. You got to move around. Seriously, you got to move around. Nowhere is spiritual fraud more prevalent than in the world of channelers and psychics. Come on here. It's informative to check out the level of truth these mediums express, as well as the level of the source on the other side. Sometimes the surprisingly high level of truth is in fact being taught is true. A level of truth which calibrates at 500 is worth listening to, regardless of its origin, because the inability to love is what's at the root of most human problems. That's it. Beyond the level of 500, possessions and worldly needs become irrelevant, which is why true teachers neither seek nor desire material gain. Come on here. Listen, true teachers neither seek nor desire material gain. I'm going to let you do with that what you will. Okay, let's move on. Appropriate use of the system will always lead to self-discovery and growth. Appropriate use of the system will always lead to self-discovery and growth, not manipulation, not control, not programming, not conditioning, self-discovery. You're helping people to self-discover and grow on their own. Okay? Not building crews and posses and followings and sheeps. Sheeps with an S. Sheep. Okay? Eventually, it can lead us to have compassion for everyone when we see how we all must struggle with the downside of human nature. Everybody is crippled in some area, and each one of us is somewhere on the path of evolution. Some people are ahead of us, and some are behind us. In the steps we've walked are the old lessons of life, and before us are new teachings. There's nothing to feel guilty about and nothing to blame. There's no one to hate, but there are those things that are better avoided, and such blind alleys will become increasingly apparent. Everyone has chosen his own level of consciousness. Everyone has chosen his own level of consciousness, yet nobody could have done otherwise at any given point in time. We can only get there from here. Every leap has to have a platform to originate from. It's true. Pain exists to promote evolution. Its cumulative effect finally forces us in a new direction, although the mechanism may be very slow. How many times is it necessary to hit bottom before a lesson is learned? Perhaps thousands, which may account for the sheer quantity of human suffering, so vast as to be incomprehensible. It's so true, man. You would think we were gluttons for punishment. Seriously. Because some of the lessons that we have to learn over and over and over and over. That's why it says, what's the statement? A fool dies 1,000 deaths. A wise man only dies once. Because a fool has to keep repeating himself and going through the same process and as if he didn't just finish going through this journey. The story will end the same way, sir. Insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. How long? How many times is it necessary to hit bottom before a lesson is learned? Man, slowly by inches does civilization advance. Slowly by inches. Slowly by inches does civilizations advance. It's an interesting exercise to use the technique to reassess our society's scapegoats. For example, to calibrate the current power level of the United Nations and then ask what level would be required to successfully do the job for which it is designed. When we see such discrepancies spelled out in plain numbers, We may stop berating individuals and institutions, realizing that they often simply do not have the requisite power to accomplish their task. Condemnation disappears with understanding, as does guilt. All judgment reveals itself to be self judgment in the end. It's so true. It's so true. Oh my God. All judgment reveals itself to be self judgment in the end. What you're pointing out in somebody else is what is highlighted in you, for sure. And when this is understood, a larger comprehension of the nature of life takes its place. That which is injurious loses its capacity to harm when it's brought into the light. And now nothing need hidden remain. Every thought, action, decision, or feeling creates an eddy in the interlocking, interbalancing, ever moving energy fields of life, leaving a permanent record for all of time. This realization can be intimidating when it first dawns on us, but it becomes a springboard for rapid evolution. In this interconnected universe, every improvement we make in our private world improves the world at large for everyone. It's so true, man. Each one of us. So to think that you are insignificant is to think so little of yourself. That is a falsehood. To think that you don't matter to the whole of us, there is no whole of us without you. We are one of one, each one of us, one of one. There is no other lives. I am me and you are my other me. We are. That's why division is so prevalent here in this planet, because together we are stronger. Together we complete one another. Divided, we crumble. That's why, as a society, as a whole, like we just read, inch by inch, we're evolving as a civilization. Inch by inch. It's a slow burning, boil. It's slow because division is so prevalent here. Whether it's by skin, whether it's by young or old, whether it's by wealth class, whether it's by working class. Oh my goodness. That's why. That's why. Man. That I just felt that. This realization can be intimidating when it first dawns on us because it becomes a springboard of rapid evolution. Every improvement that we make in our private world improves the world at large for everyone. We all float on the collective level of consciousness of mankind so that any increment we add comes back to us. We all add to our common buoyancy by our efforts to benefit life. What we do to serve life automatically benefits all of us because we're all included in that which is life. We are life. It's a scientific fact that what is good for you is good for me. Simple kindness to oneself and all that lives in is the most powerful transformational force of all. Simple kindness. It produces no backlash, has no downside, and never leads to loss or despair. It increases one's own true power without exacting any toll. But to reach maximum power, such kindness can permit no exceptions, nor can it be practiced with the expectation of some selfish reward. And its effect is as far reaching as it is subtle. In a universe where like goes to like and birds of a feather flock together, we attract to us what we emanate. Come on, we attract to us what we emanate. Consequences may come in an unexpected way. We're kind to the elevator man, and a year later, a helpful stranger gives us a hand on a deserted highway. An observable this doesn't cause an observable that. Instead, in reality, a shift in motive or behavior acts on a field that then produces an increased likelihood of responding in a positive way. Our inner work is like building up a bank account, but one that we can't draw from at will. The disposition of the funds is determined by a subtle energy field, which awaits a trigger to release this power back into our own lives. Dickens' A Christmas Carol is the story of all of our lives. We're all Scrooge, but we're all Tiny Tim as well. All of us are both selfish and lame in some areas. We're all victims like Bob Crockett, and we're all as indignantly moralistic as Mrs. Crockett, refusing to toast Scrooge. The ghost of Christmas past haunts all of our lives. The spirit of Christmases to come beckons us all to make the choices that will enhance both our own existence and that of others. If we calibrate the energy level of Christmas, by the way, it's 5:35. Wow. And it becomes obvious that its power resides within the human heart itself. It's true. It's true. All avenues of questioning lead to the same ultimate answer, the discovery that nothing is hidden and truth stands everywhere revealed is the key to enlightenment about the simplest practical affairs and the destiny of mankind. In the process of examining our everyday lives, we can find that all of our fears have been based on falsehood. The displacement of the false by the true is the essence of the healing of all things visible and invisible. And always, a final question will eventually arise for every questioner. The biggest question of all: who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you? That question, I kid you not, when I have a new client intake, that is the first question I ask them. Who are you? Do you know who you are? Based on their answer, that determines what direction we're going into in our sessions. My job is to remind you of who you are. That's my job. All of my clients, they have 1 year with me. One. That's it. That's all. Because in that 1 year, if I'm doing my job right, by the end of that year, you know who you are. And you no longer need me to remind you of that. You're standing in it by the end of that year. And you're operating from that newfound perspective, from that remembered space. Come on. You will learn. You will be reminded that all of your answers have been, are, and will always be in you. Period. It's never been outside of you. We've been conditioned to believe so, but it's never been outside of us. Everything that we need, everything that we are, everything that we possess, every single thing that you feel that you lack in this very moment, you've never lacked, ever. You've just forgotten you had it. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. Who am I? Man, that's a powerful but simple question. Who am I? That is the end of that chapter, you all. When I tell y'all, listen, let me tell you something. If you do not have this book, you are doing yourself a total disservice, because my God, this book is amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's opening us up to the things of us. Man, oh man, oh man. Get the book, you all. I have it available for you in ebook form. PDF form. You will get it, Google Drive. All I need is your email address. That's it. If you want to sow a seed into our organization, you can do so. Okay? But get the book. Get the book. Please and thank you. Get the book. Or you can listen to my amazingly beautiful voice every week. If you would love for me to narrate it for you, because I'm going to read the book regardless, okay? Let me tell you something. One thing that I am just a brief intro of who I am for those who are unaware. I'm a former recording artist, former songwriter, singer, producer, bass player out of Chicago, Illinois. Music was my life. I lived, slept, ate, breathed music, okay, in all things from the age of 5 on out, singing big time professionally, okay. I retired in 2013. Went into Beauty, the beauty arena, opened up several salons. I had full staffs and things like that all the way up until 2020, when we, of course, were forced to pivot. Now, I was even a record label exec, independent record label exec. I was A&R, all of that, all of that, all of that. So, but coming from the entertainment arena into the beauty arena, I saw things. I saw things that I was not okay with. As I evolved into my own knowing of who I am and what I possessed, I saw a lot of my other selves, my other people that I was blessed to be in their presence. I saw that they also had the same questions that I had, or the same voids that I experienced. And I said, man, I have such a heart for people. I am a Libra. If you're familiar with birth natal charts, which I read them, on your birth chart, just briefly on your birth chart, it tells you everything from your birth to your end, what your life is going to be. All right. This is prior to influences by your parents and your peers and society, all of that stuff. But it gives you your trajectory. Parents, if you have babies and children and all of that, get their birth natal chart so you can know how to raise these babies. Thank you very much. It is not a one size fit all. All right. So in my chart, I'm Libra all over the place. I'm Libra in 5 places. South Node Capricorn, Moon Capricorn. I got a lot of Capricorn, so I'm breaking away from that. My North Node is Cancer. If you're familiar, then you know. You know. Okay. So my heart is for people. I'm a mother by nature. I'm a mother by nature. So I'm always, loving and seeing, people's the best in them, and trying to assist them and get them there and all of those things. I used to give it to the wrong people too, and I just learned how to how to discern. I learned to use my discernment and intuition a little more deliberately, and it helped me a whole lot. Okay. But one of my things was people pleasing. Libra, people pleasing, 100%. And I would give of my power for acceptance. I did that for a very long time because I didn't accept me. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know I needed to do that. I thought my life was for everybody else, not realizing that I needed to live for me first. Okay. I needed, my longest relationship was me, me and me. I needed to give me what I desired, right? I'm convinced that even today, a lot of people are unaware of what love even means because they're looking for love out there when love needs to be found in here. It's always been an inside job, always inside. You can never determine where love is and what love actually is until you have connected with the infinite love that you are for yourself first. Become what you desire so that energetically you can attract naturally, organically, that which you desire. That's the power that we are, right? That's the power that we are. And when I learned that and I tapped into that, I started to see people as I saw me in my new self. And I started to love them deeply, like I love me deeply. I started to pour into them like I pour into me. I started to elevate them and affirm them like I elevate and affirm myself. And then they started to see themselves as such. And I said, wow, this is really a trickle down situation here. Okay. So that's what it is. We are here to hold each other's hand and walk each other back home. And when I say home, I mean to our higher self, our home, at which we are. Not this persona we picked up since being in this life. Mm-mm. Who are you? Who are you? That's who you need to return to. Who you are. Not what society says you need to be. not what your family says you need to be, because oftentimes we were raised by people who were unhealed themselves, all right, and had no clue of who they were either. Seriously, my goodness. Some of us are still peeling off the layers of that we gained from people who were unhealed, right? So we need to really get to that definition. Who am I? So that you can stop living a false reality. It's a lot of us. We're walking around here with mistaken identity. Who are you? Who are you? Get to that answer so that you can get to your reason for breathing, your reason for being here. Get to the reason why you signed the contract to come here. Hello, somebody. All right. Get the book, you all. Email me with your email address. Send me a back channel message. Send me a whatever, wherever you can reach me. Do that, okay? And send your email address so that I can send you your copy of your book. You want to sow a seed again? You can sow a seed. I'll tell you how to do so if you desire to do so. I'm no longer making it requirement, because I used to have a $5 seed when you sow a $5 seed. But there's no need to do that. If you want to sow. All right. If not, then it's not required. Okay. Email me info@biancamissblee.com. All right. If you want, you can visit the website. Those on Clubhouse, you can absolutely see it above my head. Just tap above my head and it'll take you straight there. Those who are watching via video on like other platforms, you can absolutely do so by Lena on Clubhouse says amazing room. Thank you, Lena, for your energy, my love. I appreciate you. That's why it was amazing, because you were there. Okay. So visit the website, you all, and you can take advantage of some of the services that I offer. Some of, if not all. I have merchandise over there, all of that stuff. Some of my merchandise is on Walmart.com as well, you all, and Amazon. So you can go there either way, just whatever. Okay. Wherever you can find it, go get it. If you are not following me on social media, I invite you to do so. I can be found on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube, all under the same name, Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. Okay. And until next week, you all, on Sunday actually is when we meet again. That's chapter 8. That is entitled The Source of Power. I'm excited about that. Let's get to the source, people. Okay. I love it. I love it here. I love the space that I created here for all of us. I do, man. I love it. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care. Let me tell y'all something. Coming from someone who came from a whole entertainment background, I promise you, if I wanted to be rich and famous, I could. Hello. That has never been an issue. Ever. Okay. If I want to be rich and famous right now, I could go right back and be that. Period. Okay. Know that. This is not about rich and famous. What's for me finds me. Okay. Period. I'm not worrying about all of that stuff. I am for somebody. I'm not for everybody. So whether I have one person, no person, 100 people in here, it doesn't matter. Who's supposed to be here is who's here. And I'm grateful for your presence. And all of these platforms are archived. So whether you listen in real time today or whether you listen on a replay 20 years from now, guess what? You're going to get it in the perfect time and in the perfect season. Because all of this transcends me. All right? And I love it here. So whenever you hear me, I love you. I mean it. There's absolutely, positively nothing, and I mean nothing, that you can do about it. So don't you even try it, okay? We will see you back here on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at Divine Femininity United. Peace.